Hello everyone, welcome to your Monday edition of Eye on Africa. Here are the headlines. At least 7 children are dead after a school collapse in Kenya. Dozens were injured. Some officials are blaming the tragedy on improper construction. 490 Moroccan women have signed a manifesto calling on authorities to get rid of what they say are obsolete laws relating to sex and abortion. The move comes as a journalist is currently on trial for allegedly having sex out of wedlock and ending a pregnancy. And the collapse of travel company Thomas Cook is also having consequences in Africa. Thousands of tourists have been left stranded, including many in Tunisia. We begin in Nairobi, where a school collapse has left 7 children dead and dozens more injured. The building, which was made of concrete, iron sheeting, and timber, collapsed shortly after the school day began Monday morning. Rescuers spent hours scouring through the rubble in an attempt to find survivors. As you can imagine, the event was a very traumatic experience for everyone who witnessed it, especially the young school children. Take a listen.
We were in class and we were reading. We had pupils and teachers screaming, and the class started collapsing. When we got out of the gate, we heard that pupils were dead.
Okay, what is it? I need to know what has happened. So she told me, okay, we have some news, but not very good news. So I knew, of course, now she's no more. But I came here, I found her inside. I checked her all over, and she did not have any bruises or any fractures. But I would suspect that it was because of the shock, and probably it's happened, and that's how it happened.
A local MP has told reporters it appears the first floor collapsed onto children who were on the ground floor. And tonight there is controversy over whether the building should have been housing children in the first place. This local community leader says the construction was anything but adequate.
This is a quality that's supposed to support slabs. This is a slab that's carrying so many people, so much weight, and yet you can easily break it with your own hand. As easy as that. This is chicken wire, this is not a construction material. And someone had the guts to use this to build a construction for our kids. I think this is basically premeditated matter. It's not like, it's sad that this could happen.
Well, France 24's Julia Steers is in the Kenyan capital tonight. She sent us the latest on the investigation and the controversy.
The accident happened at a private elementary school just shortly after the start of the day, around 7 a.m. Dozens of local residents quickly gathered at the scene as first responders rushed to rescue students and teachers and to begin the recovery process. The education minister here in Kenya confirmed the number of dead and said up to 64 children had been injured in the accident. The school's director blamed the accident on the construction of a sewer nearby the school building, saying that it's possible that weakened the building's foundation. Now, building collapses are not uncommon here in Kenya, particularly in Nairobi's informal settlements, which suffer from overcrowding and a lack of regulation. Some Kenyan politicians called out this issue on Monday, saying that many of the buildings in Nairobi are disasters waiting to happen, and highlighting issues like substandard regulation and corruption, which affects the quality of building materials, the contractors, and the land on which the buildings are built.
Zimbabwe's state-owned newspaper is reporting that former President Robert Mugabe was suffering from cancer when he died earlier this month. The Herald, which cites an address by current leader Emerson Mnangagwa to party supporters last weekend, says the 95-year-old had advanced cancer. The same sources say Mugabe had to be taken off chemotherapy because the treatment was no longer effective. His family had previously downplayed frequent trips to Singapore, saying they were necessary for cataract treatment. Mugabe died on September 6th and will be buried in Harare next month. In Morocco, thousands of women have signed a manifesto saying that they have broken the country's laws on extramarital relations and abortions. The move comes as journalist Hajar Raisuni stands trial for allegedly having sex out of wedlock and illegally ending pregnancy. The women say the laws are unfair and obsolete and that Moroccan society is ready for change. Peter O'Brien has this.
They'll keep breaking the law until it changes. Thousands of Moroccan women have declared themselves outlaws, signing a manifesto against the country's criminal code, which punishes sex out of wedlock and forbids abortion unless the mother's life is in danger. The text, by writers Leila Slimani and Sonia Terab, has been published in Moroccan media.
We are violating unfair and obsolete laws. We are having sex outside of wedlock. We are suffering, enabling or being complicit of abortion. We learn to deal with it and pretend, but for how long?
The statement comes as Hajar Reissouni, a Moroccan journalist, stands trial for allegedly having sex out of wedlock and illegally terminating a pregnancy. She remains in custody since being detained last month, along with her boyfriend, a doctor, and 2 medical aides. It's estimated that between 600 and 800 clandestine abortions occur every day in Morocco. Last year, thousands of people were tried for sex out of wedlock and around 70 for terminating pregnancy illegally.
The brother of former Algerian President Abdelaziz Bouteflika went on trial on Monday. Saïd Bouteflika is accused of plotting against the military, a charge which could carry lengthy prison terms. He was widely seen as the real power behind the presidency after his brother suffered a stroke in 2013. He is currently facing allegations of, quote, undermining the authority of the army and conspiring against the state. Top sources say that as protests erupted earlier this year, he had considered declaring a state of emergency and firing Army Chief Ahmed Gait Saleh, who is now in charge. At the hearing on Monday, Saïd Bouteflika refused to give answers to the judge's questions. Meanwhile, 2 high-ranking retired intelligence chiefs who were also on trial said they did not recognize the military tribunal's legitimacy and asked to be tried in a civilian court. Holiday company Thomas Cook has collapsed into bankruptcy, leaving hundreds of thousands of tourists stranded worldwide, and hundreds of them are currently stuck in Tunisia and awaiting repatriation flights to take them home. Nicolas Germain has the story.
The collapse of Thomas Cook will have huge repercussions. Worldwide, 22,000 employees will lose their jobs, including many in Africa. The immediate consequence is that tourists are waiting to be repatriated. 4,500 British tourists are, for example, stuck in Tunisia.
We came to the airport taking a chance, and luckily they've put a plane on. The plane isn't big enough, and there's 34 people going to be left behind.
We don't know what we're going to do next, so we're going to ask for some advice and see what happens then. No, c'est la vie.
Thomas Cook also operated here in Senegal. Its bankruptcy is bad news for all those working in the tourism sector. This hotel works with one of Thomas Cook's partner brands.
We're very disappointed, but we've received no indication of any change from our partners. So we're hoping that we can continue to work with them.
The UK government said it had hired planes to fly home British tourists. It said it was its biggest repatriation since the Second World War. 2 years ago, when Monarch Airlines collapsed, the British government had hired planes for 110,000 stranded passengers. The operation had cost taxpayers £60 million.
Finally tonight, we take you to Burkina Faso to meet the world's strongest man. Iron Bibi, that's his nickname, entered record books earlier this year after lifting a whopping 220-kilogram log. Our correspondents went to meet the 27-year-old in his hometown of Boubou-Dioulasso.
Squats with 250 kilograms on his back. Even the world's strongest man feels the burn, though. Iron Bibi never skimps on his nightly gladiator training. And despite the intensity of his workouts, the 187-kilo hero is a role model for young people.
Every day there are newcomers, new young people that come at my place and ask to train with me. And the answer is always yes. And I like helping people. And in the future, I want to have like a big sports center, a place that every sport are welcome. And I think this way it will be good for the next generation.
Iron Bibi, aka Sheikh Amadou Sanou, is visiting his relatives in Boubou-Dioulasso. The 27-year-old weightlifting champion is grateful to his family who have always supported him. It just means making more room in the trophy cabinet every time he comes home.
And right here is the trophy for the World Log Championship in UK 2019. And here is my first Guinness World Record in 2000 2018. And I broke my own record right here in 2019, doing like 82 repetitions instead of 69 repetitions.
His parents take their son's victories very seriously.
Every time we call him to give him a trophy or a prize, it's always a great feeling.
I am proud to have a son who breaks records and who is the pride of my country, and in Africa in particular.
From lifting weights to lifting spirits, Ayan Bibi's a positive role model for young people across Burkina Faso.
That does it for this edition of Eye on Africa. Live from Paris continues right after this short break. Stay tuned.